Okay, so have you all watched the video, Why Buffalo Has Horns? Fantastic, well done. So now what we're going to do is use our knowledge of conjunctions to help us write sentences about the episode that we've just watched. So to start us off, we have some sentences here, but as you can see, we have the conjunctions missing. So what we need to do is decide what conjunction we need. Do we need when, so, or but to finish each of these sentences, to complete them? Okay, so we're going to do the first few together. So the first one, Buffalo was eating reeds at the edge of the swamp. It started to move. Okay, now do we need when, so, or but? Well, we've got Buffalo was eating reeds at the edge of the swamp. It started to move. Well, we're not going to use so here, are we? Buffalo was eating reeds at the edge of the swamp, so it started to move. Because I know that we use so to show the result of something. Well, the swamp didn't move as a result of Buffalo eating at the edge of it, did it? It would have moved anyway. Could we use when here? Buffalo was eating reeds at the edge of the swamp when it started to move. Yes, that's right, isn't it? Buffalo was eating reeds at the edge of the swamp when it started to move. Now we can use when because that tells us the time that it happened. So we know that when it moved, that's what Buffalo was doing. That was the time that it started to move, when Buffalo was eating. Okay, so therefore, this one we can use when. Now you can also use but here. Buffalo was eating reeds at the edge of the swamp, but it started to move. Okay, so we've got that change there. We've got him happily eating, but then something different happened, which meant then he couldn't eat. So those are contrasting. So we could have Buffalo was eating reeds at the edge of the swamp, but it started to move. Okay, so you can have both of those there. Now the next one, Buffalo could no longer eat at the swamp. He went to live on the plains. Now we know that Buffalo went to live on the plains because he could no longer eat at the swamp. So that's the consequence, isn't it? That's the result of him not being able to eat at the swamp anymore, the fact that he went to live on the plains. So therefore, what conjunction do we use to show a result? Well, yes, we use so, don't we? Buffalo could no longer eat at the swamp, so he went to live on the plains. That was the result of him not being able to eat at the swamp anymore. Okay, fantastic. So now what I'd like you to do is have a go at filling in the next two by yourselves. Okay, so if you could pause the video, have a little think, which conjunction is missing in these two sentences? Okay, so let's go through them together. So Buffalo wanted to live on the plains. Only animals with horns live there. Okay, well, we know that Buffalo doesn't have horns at the beginning, don't we? So therefore, it's almost like he wishes he had horns so that he could live on the plains, but actually it's the opposite of that, and he can't live on the plains because he doesn't have horns, and only animals that have horns live there. So we've got a contrast here, haven't we? He really wants to live there, even though he can't. Okay, so therefore we would use this, the conjunction but. Buffalo wanted to live on the plains, but only animals with horns live there. Okay, so we can complete that sentence using the coordinating conjunction but. So well done if you got that one. Now the next one you should definitely know because we've used this earlier on in the lesson. You see, there was a time Buffalo didn't have horns. Now which conjunction goes in there? Well, yes, it's when, isn't it? Because it's telling us about a time before he had horns. At that exact moment in time, he didn't have horns. Okay, so when they're talking about, so you see there was a time, back in that time, he didn't have horns at that exact moment. Okay, so fantastic, well done if you got those correct. So now what we're going to do is create our own sentences using these conjunctions. So here I've got a picture from the video. Now this shows when Buffalo goes to the plains, and actually the swamp almost follows him, doesn't it? So therefore I've got here, the swamp came closer and closer to the plains. So, okay, now what we know that when we use the conjunction so, we show the result, don't we? So what was the result of the swamp coming closer and closer to the plains? Well, Buffalo decided to look somewhere else, didn't he? And Giraffe told him to go to the waterhole. So therefore I could write the swamp came closer and closer to the plains. So the result of this, Giraffe suggested he tried the waterhole, okay? So the fact that the swamp came closer and closer to the plains meant that resulted in Giraffe suggesting he tried the waterhole. Okay, now here's another one. Now I'd like you to have a go at this one on your own. So you've got a picture here of when buffalo met squirrel, okay? And we've got the sentence, when buffalo met squirrel. So we've got our subordinating conjunction at the beginning, when buffalo met squirrel, and we've got our comma. Remember, if we put a subordinating conjunction at the beginning, we need our comma. So can you finish that sentence for me? Pause the video now and have a go. Okay, so how did you get on? Well, we know that when buffalo met squirrel, what was he doing? Ah, yes, that's right. He was collecting nuts, wasn't he? Because he was worried that the swamp was going to get closer and closer and all of the nuts would go and he'd have nothing to eat. So therefore, you could have written, when buffalo met squirrel, he was gathering nuts, okay? You might have thought of something different, but that's what I thought of, okay? So don't worry if it's different. I'm sure there are lots of other options for this, but the one I came up with was when buffalo met squirrel, he was gathering nuts, okay? So now it is your turn. You have got a worksheet called Year 2 English 30th of June resource, okay? And you've got lots of pictures on this worksheet. Now the first, I think it is 4 pictures, I have given you the first part of the sentence and the conjunction. And all you need to do is, based on the picture, finish that sentence, okay? Using the first part of the sentence and the conjunction, okay? Then the second part of the worksheet, you just have the first part of the sentence with no conjunction and no second part of the sentence. So you need to decide, based on the pictures, which conjunction you're going to use and how then you are going to finish your sentence based on what conjunction you have used. Because remember, you use them for different reasons. Okay, so I'm looking forward to seeing the sentences that you come up with for the video, Why Buffalo Has Horns. Well, have a lovely rest of your day, Year 2, and I will see you tomorrow in our next English lesson. Bye.